So, when I was 7 years old, and you all got one of these cards, that is me, yes, it is me. When I was 7 years old, my parents took me to see my first Broadway show, Oklahoma. And we came in late. And I wanted to stay to see the beginning again. I thought when the curtain came down, I could just stay there for a little while. It would go up again like a movie, and I'd see the beginning. Well, that wasn't true. So my parents dragged me out of the theater, kicking and screaming because I missed the beginning. And from that day on, I realized that I wanted to be a scenic designer. I wanted to make those pretty stage pictures that I saw. So I went back to school, PS 64 in the Bronx, where we lived, and I asked the teacher, instead of doing a book report like all the other students were doing, if I could take a shoebox and make a picture about the book we were reading. And she said yes, and I would make those little dioramas for every book we read. Then I got into Hunter College in New York City, and I did a lot of the school productions. And finally, I got into Yale Drama School, the most prestigious theater school in the country at that time, and I was in the design department. It was a 3-year master's, and after the first year, I was asked to leave. I was told basically that I had no talent. Wait a minute, you can't tell me I had no talent. I was a scenic designer since I was 7 years old, making those pretty little pictures in the shoebox. You can't tell me I had no talent. So I went back to New York City, and I got into the design union, United Scenic Artists, as an apprentice. And I took the test, very stringent, 1-month test, and I failed. And I took it again, and I passed. And I got a job at CBS Television, and I designed such shows as Merv Griffin, Jackie Gleason Show, Captain Kangaroo. How many of you remember Captain Kangaroo? Probably saw my set. And guess what? My fellow classmates at Yale was still doing college productions, and I was doing national television. And that journey taught me a great lesson that I've used throughout my life, and that is that we create our thoughts and intentions create our reality. Our thoughts and intentions create our reality. And I didn't know it at the time, but that was a very unity principle. I mean, our third principle is we create our life experiences through our way of thinking. I didn't know that, but that is what I was doing. And you know, I thought, what if my parents had taken me to see a wrestling match? Not something I'd want to do, but luckily they took me to the theater when I was 7 years old, and it totally influenced my life. So just fast forward 40 years, I'm no longer a designer. I'm now a professional speaker and an author. And Random House, a division of Random House, published 7 of my books. And then they were doing all this cost-cutting measures, and they closed the door of that division. Suddenly, all my 7 books were no longer in print. And so for a year and a half, I struggled to find another publisher. I called every publisher I knew, I wrote letters. Nobody wanted to reprint the books. And another unity principle, I thought, well, let go and let God. And so what I did, above my computer, I put this card that said, the perfect publisher will find me. The perfect publisher will find me, and I just let that go. And about 3 months later, I go to a meeting, and it was for book publicists, people who publicize authors' books. And I was sitting on the aisle, and a man next to me was turned around talking to 2 women. And I overheard them say, we have a very successful publishing company, and we are looking to start a new division of uplifting, motivational, inspirational books. And I turned around immediately and I said, I have 7 of those all ready to go. And they gave me their card, and they said, send us your books and we'll look at them. And I looked at the card, and I was amazed. Their offices were 5 blocks away from where I lived. And so the next day I brought them the books, and they actually started to publish them. And then a short while later, another miracle happened. They had gotten too big for their little office, so they moved to another office and had this huge party. And of course I was invited, and I walked in the door, and this woman comes up to me. She says, "Alan, I'm the owner of this company. I own this company. You don't know me. You haven't seen me because I live in London." She says, "But I've known you for about 10 years. And I look at her and I go, "I don't recognize you. How come you know me?" And she said, "For 10 years, I lived across the street from you, and I would watch you walk your dog every single day. The perfect publisher found me." They have since published 8 of my books. One of them, the You Can't Ruin My Day, and the 9th one will be published next year. The perfect publisher will find me. So I want to invite you, maybe you want to use that in your own life. The perfect fill in the blank. The perfect relationship will find me. The perfect job will find me. The perfect house or apartment will find me. And just keep that in front of you all the time. Why do I ask you to do this? Because your thoughts and your intentions create your reality. Shawn just talked about that author who thought, "I want to be on Oprah. I want to be on New York Times bestseller list." What happened?
He spent 17 years in prison.
Right. You never know. So just think a moment. What would you put in this blank? The perfect what will find you? What was some of the... What?
Concoction.
Your perfect concoction. Saul likes to mix all these foods together to make the perfect concoction. What else? What would...
Golf swing.
Your perfect golf swing. The perfect... I'm sorry. The perfect job, yes.
The perfect clients, yeah.
Yes, the perfect client. Why do I ask you to do that? Because your thoughts and your intentions create your reality. Okay, another story about that. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. I'm on the way to the gym. I had just seen Billy Elliot. I love the music. I have the tape deck in my car, and I'm singing away. Electricity, electricity inside of me, and I'm free, I'm free. Singing in front of David Friedman's a little difficult, but... And I'm singing that, and suddenly I hear this siren, and I get pulled over. And it wasn't my singing, folks, but I was speeding. See, in San Francisco, on Geary Street, there's a tunnel. And when you enter the tunnel, it is 35 miles an hour. When you exit the tunnel, immediately it goes to 25 miles an hour. And I was probably doing 42 miles an hour. And I'm singing, and I got the ticket, and I get to the gym, and I'm telling my fellow gym mates, "Hey, I just got a speeding ticket." And I'm still happy, I'm still upbeat. And they're going, "Alan, how can you possibly be so happy? You just got a speeding ticket." And out of my mouth said, "I am not going to let that policeman or that ticket ruin my day." It was my intention to have a great day that day, and I was not going to let anything ruin it. But even more than that, what happened was I realized that could be a book. How often we let other people and other things ruin our day. And I thought I need to tell people how to stop that and not let that happen to them. So I started to write the book, and I say it came out last year. And the basic premise of the book is that there is really no inherent meaning in anything. You see everything through your eyes. You see the positive or the negative through your eyes. Everything, it's all different. A story about my mom. She was in an apartment, a condo, and she was moving to an independent living facility. And she called me up. She was in Florida. I'm in California. She called me up and said, "Oh, you know what? This morning I had this little TV snack table. I was putting my dishes on, ready to pack, and the whole table fell, and half the dishes broke." And I said, you know, I'm kind of consoling her. "Oh, Mom, that's too bad." She said, "No, no, no. Now I have less to pack." It's all through our eyes. You could be in a traffic jam. The car to your left is moaning, groaning, "I'm in a traffic jam again. I hate traffic jams." The other car's going, "God, I really don't mind being in the traffic jam. I was going to a meeting I didn't want to go to. Now I have a great excuse." It's all through your lens. Your lens, no one else's. So there's a great story in the book. It's about two salesmen. And they were sent to this far-off land where nobody wore shoes. They're all barefoot. And one salesman sends back an email saying, "I'm not going to be able to sell any shoes here. Nobody wears any." And the other salesman sends back an email saying, "Great opportunity for selling shoes. Nobody has any." Same situation. So I want to share, read to you just two stories from the book about that, and that we share, we actually see things through our own lens. A man and a woman have been, I'm going to put my glasses on so I,
So you can
sorry.
see through your lens.
So I can see, I see through these lenses, yes. So this is about an older couple, and the man and woman had been married for more than 50 years. They kept no secrets from each other, except that the woman had a shoebox in the closet, and she had cautioned her husband never, never to open that shoebox. So for all those years, he never thought about the box, but one day the woman got sick, and he thought, well, she may not last long, I better find out what's in it. So the man took down the box and brought it to his wife's bedside. And when he opened it, he found there were 2 crochet dolls and $95,000. And he asked her about what this was about. She said, "When we were married, my grandmother told me the secret of a happy marriage was never to argue. She told me that if ever I got angry with you, I should just keep quiet and crochet a doll." The man was so moved. He had to fight back tears. Only 2 dolls were in the box. "Honey," he said, "that explains the dolls, but what about all the money? Where did that come from?" "Oh," she said, "that's the money I made from selling the dolls." We see things through our own lens. So one other story about that. This is a foggy night, and a U.S. aircraft carrier was cruising off the coast of Newfoundland, and the junior radar operator spotted a light in the darkness. The radar person worked out that a collision was likely unless the other vessel changed its course. So he sent this radio message: "Please divert your course at least 7 degrees to the south to avoid a collision." Back came this reply: "You must be joking. I recommend you divert your course instead." The radar officer referred the matter to his superior and reported the incident as insubordination. As a result, the captain of the aircraft carrier sent a second message, and it said, "I believe that I outrank you, and I am giving you a direct order to divert your course right now." Another message came back to him: "This is a lighthouse, your call." It's always our call. It's always through our own eyes. Things are the way they are, and it's the way we react to them. I love what Course in Miracles says. Some of you may know that. It says, if you're in a confrontation or upset about something, ask, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Simple question. that you could ask yourself. Do you want to be right and do you want to be happy? So I have a personal story about that. When I was writing my first book, The Healing Power of Humor, one of my best friends, I didn't call, I didn't send him a birthday card, I had a deadline, I'd never written a book before, I didn't go to dinner with people, and so after the book was done, he called me up and said, Alan, I want to take you to coffee. And we went to coffee, and he pulled out a list of about 57 items why he never wanted to see me again. And he proceeded to read each one. You didn't send me a birthday card. And I just agreed, yeah, I was writing my book. You didn't call me after I called you. Yeah, I was too busy writing. And he went through each item, and I just kind of agreed. I didn't get stuck in it. I didn't argue with him. I didn't try to justify that. And at the end of the list, I said, Marty, anyone that has taken that much time to write all of that must really love me. And he must have got even more angry. But I realized we don't have to get stuck in stuff. We can stop struggling. We don't have to get caught in all of that, I'm Jewish, mishigas. You know, we can just let it go. So I want to share with you 5 steps of how you can harness your power of intention. So the first one is be very, very clear of what you want. I didn't want to be an astronaut. I didn't want to be a brain surgeon. I wanted to be a scenic designer. Be very clear. The second thing is put it down on paper. So much stronger when you commit the perfect publisher. Put it down on paper. An example of that, I was living in New York City. My wife was from San Francisco. We'd come here every year, at least sometimes twice a year. I'd look at the beautiful Victorian houses, and I thought, someday I want a Victorian house in San Francisco. And so I was an artist at the time, and I would sit and draw fanciful Victorian houses.
Oh, nice.
And guess what, folks? I have a Victorian house in San Francisco. Put it down on paper. And the other thing is, you don't have to know how your intentions will manifest. That is not your job. You just have to, and this is a very unity idea again, let go and let God. Put out your intention, write it down, be clear what you want, and then let it go. Because sometimes it may not be right for you, or right at that time for you, or you may not be the person that should happen to. You don't know, but there's a higher power that does, so let that go. So I want to show you a little, help you to remember to let go, a little process about letting go. You all have balloons? Take out your balloon, give it a couple of big stretches. And if you can, think about your intention you have, that a job, house, whatever, and blow that intention in the balloon. Try to give it a couple of big stretches, might help to blow that.
My intention's not going in. Is this a sign? Is this a sign mine's not blowing?
I can't believe you're not on air.
It's
I mean, it doesn't really matter how big it is, or if you didn't have it blown up yet. Hold your balloon up in the air. Think of the intention you put in that. And because I said you need to sometimes put that out and let it go, when I count to 3, you're going to let go of the balloon. Ready? 1, 2, 3, let go.
Oh, David. Is it small?
Okay, and the fourth idea of how to manifest your intention is you've got to do something about it. Just thinking about it or writing it down is not quite enough. So I'm in California. I'm watching Macy Day, Thanksgiving Day Parade, and I used to go to it when I worked for CBS. I had a little to do with it. And so I thinking, God, I would like to march in the Macy Day Parade someday. But I didn't know how to do that. So I asked, I believe we're at 12 degrees, or 6 degrees rather. So I doubled it. 6 degrees of separation from people that could help us get what we want. So I asked a number of people. Nobody knew how to get me in the Macy Day Parade. So I asked a lot more of my friends. I put it on Facebook. And a woman got back to me, said, I live in New York. She said, I don't know how to do it either. I'll find out for you. And she got a hold of Macy. She got a hold of the right person in charge of the parade. And in 2013, and my brother joined me then, who's here now, I marched in the Macy Day Thanksgiving Day Parade. Put out your intentions. And the fifth way is lighten up about them. If you get too heavy, too serious, chances are they're not going to happen. So I have a little reminder for you to lighten up not only your intentions but life. It's in those packets that say do not open. Would you hold that in your hand? And close your eyes. Packet in hand, eyes closed. And again, think about something you want to happen, some intention. Something you'd like to see in your life. And hold on to the packet. And with your eyes closed, think about that. And then with your eyes closed, open the packet, take out what's inside, and put that thing on your nose and then look around the room. You can open your eyes and put on your nose if you don't have that. You all look great. You look like a patch of cherry tomatoes. Take this with you when things are getting too heavy. Put your nose on. Use it in traffic jams. But just play with your nose and see what happens.
Leave your noses on. Kenneth's taking a picture.
So, final story. Final story about the power of intention, and I want to share with you, as I was preparing the speech, I thought intention starts with I, so power of intention is like the power of I. That we have that power to create a world we want. Very unity principle. So one final story happened this year. January 5th, I put on my bucket list that I wanted to do a TED Talk. Most of you know what TED Talks are. Yeah. January 25th, I got an unsolicited email asking, would you like to do a TED Talk for us? Wow. April 23rd, I stood on that round red rug reminding the audience of what I'm reminding you today, that your thoughts and your intentions create your reality. Thank you.